Right, we're live. Please, before we do anything else, let me know what the audio and the visual sound like, because every single time this gets messed up. So if you could let me know in the chat, that would be awesome. Hopefully though, everything goes as planned. I think it's supposed to be good. Today we're going to be reviewing The Art of Resilience, and also going to be introducing the next book. And I'm going to introduce the next book. That's going to be the first thing that I'm going to do, because I know some people will click on this video, watch a little bit of it, and then click off. So if you're part of the book club and you want to join the next book club, as voted for by the guys on Patreon, we're going to be reading The Talent Code. This book is a cracker. I read this years ago, and I actually just was digging through some boxes, and I was looking at some of loud humming. Is the audio bad, or the audio is good? Anyway, I'm going to finish off what I'm saying. So yeah, I was digging through some books, and I found this one. I was like, you know what? This one links very much into the some of the stuff Ross was saying in his book. He wasn't built for swimming, but obviously he's a talented guy. This book talks about the things that make talented people talented, and I think it'll be a great book, because it's also about how to learn skills. And when we do calisthenics, we also learn skills. Audio's fine. Okay, cool. All good. So this is the next book, The Talent Code. If you want to go grab it, you can obviously grab it on Amazon, support a local bookstore, and I will be giving away three copies. So I'm going to send it around the world, or anywhere I can do. I think we had somebody from Colombia. Colombia win last time. I couldn't post to there, but if I can post to you, I will send it to you. So in the description down below, there should be a link to a form. You can fill that out with your email, and I'll contact you to send you a copy of the book. Otherwise, let's talk about Ross Edgley's Art of Resilience. I think I might just hang out and answer some questions for like the first 5 minutes or so, give people a chance to join, and then yeah, let's chat about it. So, how's everyone doing? Okay, I think the humming, by the way, regarding the audio, is my laptop is like right here, so I can read through the comments, and MacBooks are just like spinning up the fans like crazy, so that's probably the humming, but fingers crossed, otherwise it all sounds good. I've seen a few people already mentioning about Ross and steroids, and I think that's going to be an interesting conversation for later. Yeah, the hairstyle is wild, man. I think I mentioned in one of the vlogs that I haven't had a haircut basically now for like 4 months because of all this lockdown stuff. It's an opportunity to grow hair and like have a reason for looking a bit ridiculous. So I'm tempted to go for the man bun, but I'm not sure it's I'm not sure I can allow it, you know. We got Frankfurt. Come on, where's everyone from? I think I kind of try to do it at a time where I think it would be viable for pretty much everywhere around the world, but you know, we're need a beard. I cannot grow any facial hair. The only thing I can grow is like a little bit of a pedo mustache, which has come to the channel a couple of times when there's been Movember, you know. I do watch Jeff Nippard occasionally. I think Jeff's great. I don't know him personally, but I think he's always got great content. I'll be checking out his posture video. Be interesting to see. Got Canada, Wales, Turkey, Budapest, Germany, Berlin, Copenhagen, South Africa. Hey, this is mental, man. Everyone around the world, dude. That's awesome. I'm seeing a lot of no man bun, yes man bun. Okay, now we are going to get to the book club. I'm going to give it like a few minutes. I just want to like kind of chat to you guys a little bit and see what you're saying. And because I kind of enjoy, like, that's why I make the vlogs. I know some people do and don't like that. Some people think it's a bit influencery, but I just enjoy like having a bit more of an informal chat, because that's like one of my favorite things about workshops, is just meeting people who have watched videos or done this and interacting with them and learning about their journey. So I think it's nice to just sit down and have a chat sometimes. The community is what it's all about, right? Bloody hell, India, Germany. Am I going to do more movement stuff with Edo Tau? It's not really my jam. Can't lie. I don't not like it. I think the movement stuff's really cool. Edo's like redefined a bunch of training, but it's just not what floats my boat right now. Right now I'm like, I want to get really strong and I want to build a bit of muscle. So that's where I'm at. Stiff neck. I too also have stiff neck, usually from handstands. To be honest with you, stiff neck. Right, so here's a random one. I just lie on the end of my bed and then just have it so that like the end of your bed is right across the top of your thoracic spine. So you can kind of just like let gravity do its thing and just lie over the edge of the bed. And just the decompression is awesome. Or you can do a thing where if you search up like neck decompression, there's basically one that you can wrap like a resistance band around your head and then put it on like a door handle and it distracts the neck. That also feels amazing. Sometimes also stiffness can be associated with weakness, and a lot of people don't train their neck, so worth having a look into training your neck. Yo, awesome, man. I'm so happy that so many of you have joined. So hopefully a lot of you have read the book. That was kind of the point of the book club. I wanted an excuse to start reading again, and I wanted some accountability as well to make sure that I stuck through it and actually, read the book. So who's read the book? What did you think of it? Give me a rough thought. I'll be honest, I actually really enjoyed the book, and I'm going to be giving this to my dad after as well. So he also wants to give it a read. But yeah, what did you guys think of the book? Did you enjoy it? Do you not? I have read. Awesome, Daniel. I'm glad you've read. By the way, I know there's a bunch of people asking questions. If you want, I will do like a live stream Q&A. I haven't done much live content because I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit daunting because there's no editing, there's no nothing. So if it messes up, it messes up. But if you guys want, if you want a live stream Q&A or just a hangout chat, then I am more than happy to start setting those up and doing those. Natasha saying very easy read, finished it in a few days. I agree. It was an easy read, but that's kind of why I chose this book. I knew it was going to be a bit of like a conversational sort of book, easy to sit down. There's some good humor in there, and a good description of his journey. So I'm glad you enjoyed. Watched his podcast with Joe Rogan. Yeah, you're right. Summarize the book. Just watch the podcast. I mean, he seems like a very nice guy. By the way, I was planning on doing this live stream with Ross. I did reach out to him, and he said, "Awesome, thank you for sharing the book and sharing the story." He was going to join, but he said he had some family things that he couldn't join. And if you've read the book, you might understand the context there. So I didn't push, but it would have been awesome to have Ross on and just have a chat with him about it. But he now subscribes to this channel, so we'll see if we can get Ross on in a future video. I have no idea what's going on. I just love your channel. I appreciate that, Manny. I don't have any idea what's going on either. The Audible version. You know what, Dan? I think the Audible version, I might have to start getting into some audiobooks because I've been walking every day for like half an hour, and I think that's like a great time just to chuck in an audiobook. You can power through so much more content that way. Like you can just absorb the information. Whereas sometimes sitting down to read, although that was the point of this book club, was like making time to sit down to read. Sometimes it's not always viable. Adam, you've already read The World's Fittest, but I haven't read Ross Edgley's other books, so good to hear they're interesting. First, third. Yeah, so I would say my first opinion is, yeah, Ross is mental. Okay, so a brief for those who are just watching and have no idea what's going on. Ross basically swam around the entirety of the UK, so it's about 2,000 miles, 2,200 miles, something like that. He swam around. He did not go on land the entire time. This happened, I believe, sort of middle of 2019, and there were some videos on Red Bull's channel about it. Well worth the watch. I remember watching it live. The dude is mental, right? He was swimming 6 hours on, 6 hours off on repeat. So you can imagine how hard that would be for just a few days, right? Just put yourself, okay, I'm gonna just do your normal day-to-day stuff, but you're gonna do 6 hours and you're gonna sleep 6 hours, right? Then try to swim around the UK, and then try doing that for 150 or 160 days straight. Like, that is mental. Just it does put into perspective like what the human body is capable of in terms of just how resilient it is. I think in the health and fitness community, there's certainly like an aspect when we're talking about like rehabilitation and injuries and these sort of things, where almost we treat the body like it's frail, whereas in reality the body is damn strong. Like, it can handle a lot of stuff, a lot of things that you throw at it. So I think this book and a lot of like the stuff that adventurers and other people do, I think a lot of people have mentioned so far David Goggins. Like, yeah, David Goggins, he's not really my cup of tea. Like, I don't love the just pure motivational stuff. That's not really my jam, but like the stuff that David does is incredible, so definitely can't argue there. Alison's saying surprisingly fun read, like the flow, like the storytelling. Yeah, I completely agree. I thought he did a really great job with like he managed to interlace some relatively dry or boring sports science with an interesting story. So I think his way of presenting the information was great. Like, they touched on some really important topics. I have actually I've gone and I've made some notes on stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I'm kind of just enjoying like chatting to you guys, so we keep doing that. Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people were saying swimming in the UK is actually quite hard, and I didn't realise that. I just kind of accepted it, but yeah, because we're a little island and there's two seas that meet. We got the North Sea on one side, you got the Atlantic on the other. There's all these sort of tides and movements that happen around the island, which made the swimming really challenging. Yeah, so it's mental. I can't even put in perspective how hard it is. Isaac saying, I think David Goggins needs to realise you need some happiness in your life. Yeah, sometimes you need to take a day off. Like, it's all in it's all relative. So Daniel mentioned he's a beast. He's been doing this for a long time. You're quite right. So actually there's a good thing in here, which I'm going to try and find the exact part that I wanted to chat about. But he talks about basically the importance of general physical preparedness. So this is something that I've been going on a lot about lately. And basically GPP, general physical preparedness, is like, that is your foundation for your training. So this is applicable to anything. So if we're doing bodyweight training, that's like your basics between doing your push-ups, your pull-ups, your rows, your dips. That is your GPP, your general physical preparedness. If you are strong at that, then you have the ability to handle much more load, much more tolerance when it comes to skills. The same with flexibility. If you've got some basic level of strength, it's going to be much easier to get flexible. If you've got some basic range of motion, much easier to get flexible. So I really liked his simplistic approach and his emphasis on that. Ultimately, I would consider like the first 5 years of training is a beginner phase. Like I tried to get too ahead of myself when I was doing some more advanced stuff, and then the last like 2-3 years where I've seen the most progress has just been when I've been focusing on that GPP, that general physical preparedness, basic stuff, going through the motions, building up work capacity. So I think he did a good job with that. Obviously, when you're swimming around an entire island, you're going to need a certain amount of conditioning, a certain amount of capacity just to be able to keep swimming. Exactly, Jake saying strong base for that pyramid. 100% right, man. 100% right. It is, I think, the most undervalued thing in fitness. I think there's like, and you could take any if you're into aesthetics, if you're into powerlifting, Olympic lifting, you're into bodyweight training, really anything. If you're somebody who spends more time building that base, you're going to be good. You're going to get much better progress. Arne says, do I do marks in my book? So it depends, but I didn't do it on this one. I've basically, if I can find a note, I tend to just like stick a note down and I'll kind of write what I thought of that was useful on the page. I used to go through and highlight stuff, but I found that like it's easier just to pick out a note. So I actually just picked up on the importance of GPP. which was on topic. I also, so right, okay, let's get to the thing that I wanted to talk about, which is the size of him, man. Like, Ross is in incredible shape, and he has been in incredible shape for a long time. Now, a lot of people right at the beginning of this live asked, like, is Ross on steroids? And the answer to your question, I don't know. I mean, the fitness industry is rife with people who claim to be natural who aren't natural. Yeah, so Jake just said his arms are huge. Just, I mean, like, just, you know, open up another tab and go look at Ross Edgley, right? The two is stacked. So for one, he's 5'6", okay? So being 5'6", limbs are going to be much shorter, and this will help you look much more jacked. So actually, this happens a lot with like gymnasts. If you watch gymnasts in the Olympics, they look like they're huge, but it's kind of a little bit of I mean, they are huge, like most of them are jacked, but it's a little bit to do with like body proportions. So you look a lot bigger than you are. For instance, like here come the excuses. So I've got really long arms, so I look relatively not jacked, but I've still got some muscle mass. Does that make sense? I hope that seems fair. But I don't know if Ross is natural. To be honest with you, I think he is. I remember, like, because I went to the same university as Ross, I went to Loughborough University, I remember seeing him around in the gym, and he was built then. I mean, he could have been taking gear then. I just don't think so. He seems like a very authentic guy from the interactions I have had with him and the interactions I've seen of him. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Innocent until proven guilty. And I mean, I don't think he was taking gear. Even if he was taking gear, what he did was incredible. So hands down, I don't think it detracts, but I don't think he was. Yeah, I would agree with Daniel saying, you know, with how he lives, how hard he trains, what he does, and the amount of cake that he eats. I think it's fair enough. So I just wanted to go back to some muscle mass. You're the strongest 6'4" person. Oh, thanks, Michael. I'll take that. That's made my day. Yes, somebody said, right. Natasha said he comes from a family of adventurers, so genetics are the right foundation. 100% agree with that. He did loads of sports as a kid. What you do as a kid massively impacts you as an adult. A lot of the people who are really good in the gymnastic space, who weren't gymnasts, so people like maybe Roy Gold and a few others that I've met, they've actually been swimmers. So it seems like swimming has a massive transfer over to being good at upper body stuff later on in life. But yeah, so Nova Scott said, I liked how so many gave him plenty of good reasons why he couldn't do it with his body proportions, and those flaws actually helped. And I think that was one of my favourite parts of the book, actually, was the fact that, and that's actually, so the reason I wanted to highlight that point, that's the reason I chose this, which is the talent code, so this next book that we're going to be reading, because in this book, Daniel Coyle basically dissects like a lot of talent hotspots around the world, and he talks about how actually it's not about necessarily the people. Obviously the people are very talented, but it's about the environments that people grow up in, and the talent comes from those situations. So I think Ross is a perfect example of this. He's not built to swim. He's not built to swim around the UK, but he's grown up in the right environment. He's put himself in touch with the right people. He's developed the right things that gave him the ability to take on this challenge that nobody else has ever done before. And relating this back to the body weight training, the flexibility stuff, like on a personal level, I'm 6'4", for somebody who asked how tall I was. Do you know, Ross and I actually weigh pretty much the same weight, which is crazy. I'm like 8 inches taller than him, to put into perspective. So, you know, I'm not necessarily built for bodyweight training. I wasn't particularly flexible. I'm sure there's plenty of other people who are similar to this in this chat, who follow this channel. I know for a fact that I've seen these comments. So I think it's kind of, it's nice to see people who weren't necessarily built or had the genetics to do something, but then still with that perseverance, with that work ethic, became good at doing it. Hey Joe, welcome to the first live. This is the first live stream that I've done public on this channel. I've done a few live streams for people in the app, but that one's much more chilled because I know it's only like so many people are going to see it, not potentially all of the people, right? Yeah, I completely agree. So Jake just mentioned about don't write yourself off until you've got to your limit. I think a lot of people never get to that limit. Yeah. So, was there anything? Okay, for those of you who read the book, anything in the book that you read that stood out to you and was like, that is, it gave you a bit of a realization about maybe your own training or about something in your life? I don't know if there's anything you're interested in, there's something that's really stuck out to you. The morning flexibility routine gang. Do you know how many people like tag me on Instagram or something with a story at like 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning doing the stretching routines? And I love to see it. It's great. Awesome, man. I'm so happy so many people have joined as well. It's really great to have a bit of a chat. So Ton, Otis. Okay, right. So let me address the fact that a lot of people say that I look like Otis from Sex Education. I think now with the freaking the bird's nest that I've got growing on my head at the moment, I look less like Otis from Sex Education. But I don't see the similarity other than the fact that I'm English. And I got short hair, oh man, I don't get it, but that one is one of the weirdest ones I see. Yeah. So the part where he pushes on through, even though, so in the book, Ross's dad, I say in the book like it's a fictional story. In real life, Ross's dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and so he was like, I think this was when he was around Scotland. He was probably about 2/3 of the way through at this point, and I mean that's like he set himself the challenge that he wasn't going to step on land, and put yourself in his shoes. Like I was reading this and I was like, oh man, I didn't know that at the time when I was watching him do it. I was like, that's a brutal thing to go through. Setting yourself this challenge. He's already done 100 days, all of these people, all of this stuff, and then your dad gets terminal cancer. He's too ill to visit you, man. That's so hard. But I think in the book anyway, his dad basically makes him say that he's gonna finish the race. He's gonna finish the race and then see his dad. Basically, he basically made a promise to not quit, which I think is an awesome thing from his dad. But I mean, very respectable. And I think that was interesting how he then wove in like the Stoicism aspect to that. He talks a lot about Stoicism. Anyone on Otis on steroids? I'll take that. But yeah, so I mean, has anyone watching this given much of a look into Stoicism? Have you read much of the Stoicism? Because one of the options for this next book was actually going to be The Obstacle in the Way by Ryan Holiday, which is a book that I haven't read, but I've read some other Stoic philosophy. So it's definitely a possible. I'm just laughing because I've read a comment, and if you're watching the chat right now, you're probably going to know what comment that is. Obstacle in the way, I presume that means yeah. I mean, so Stoicism I think is a perfect. So the reason I wanted to read this book is The Art of Resilience. I feel like it's particularly relevant in the current time, right, with COVID, and Stoicism plays a part in this. Stoicism, the fundamental of it is thinking about what are the things that you can control those things. Usually that refers to basically your mind, your perception of things that are happening around you. What are the things you can't control? Well, that's basically everything else. And in the book, obviously, there's a bunch of things that happen, but at the moment, we've got lockdowns. You can't leave your house. You got to stay inside. You can't access a gym. You can't do a lot of things that you want to do. But taking control of the things you can do, your own mental attitude towards those things, I think is such a fundamental thing. So I'm trying to have a serious conversation here, guys, and then Michael just goes and asks questions about how do I feel the fact that he's used these routines to train somebody using kink, like naked push-ups and naked cat stretches on Zoom. I mean, fair play to you. We live in a world that OnlyFans is a normal thing for everyone to be doing. So there's that. Back to the Stoicism side of things. Controlling the things you can control, forgetting about things you can't. I mentioned this in a few vlogs, and I think it's very helpful at the moment. I think the fact that, especially in the UK, we're stuck inside, it's very easy to use that as an excuse to not do things. Those uncontrollable circumstances, you just let them take over your life, take over your feelings. And I understand that there's more to it than this. Like, it does suck. There's a massive mental health element to this that I think is going to be realised in the next sort of 5 years, 10 years. But hopefully you've got literally so much information at your fingertips on YouTube, right? There's always something you can do. I know for the fact that the people in the chat, you guys are going to be, you're already on this, you're already doing this. But that's because you enjoy it, you live it. But I would definitely encourage you, if you're going to take, maybe one thing away, like, if you're take the knowledge, take the things you've learned off YouTube and try to help somebody else. Maybe, if you're doing some stretching routines, if you're following some flexibility, why don't you invite your friend who maybe is struggling, or maybe is a little bit out of shape, and just like get people to start doing things. It's a great way to, again, accountability is massively important. Why I started the book club, I want to start reading more. If I start a book club, I have to read because I want to share that with you guys. Right, I'm just going to read some comments here. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, fantastic suggestion. I really like the Daily Stoic. That was just so nice, like little, reading thought each morning. That was good. Bonehead Cycler, is it too late to join for the Art of Resilience, or should you buy the Talent Code? So Talent Code we're going to be reading and then reviewing in 6 weeks time. So I think that is the end of April. I'd have to get the date up exactly. I'll put it in the description. It is in the description actually, I think. So yeah, the Talent Codes are going to be the next one we're going to be chatting about on a live stream. But if you wanted to read The Art of Resilience, I highly recommend grabbing it and reading it. It was a good read. It was interesting. On chapter 2, the types of pain and the humour to cope. Yeah, I think laughing and that's also so he talked a bit about using laughter, using humour to get through painful situations, which I think a lot of people do. But later on in the book, one of the final chapters, he talks about talking about study. He talks about basically how his birthday, his mum and his girlfriend and family, they came aboard, and it was that happy, that smiling, that sort of energy kind of elevated his performance. And it's actually something that's proven by science, again, that he references in the book. He talks about how people who had a happy interaction before a test to failure, they actually performed higher than the people who didn't. So having a little bit more of a positive outlook on life actually makes you perform better, or having more positive interactions makes you perform better. I thought that was an interesting one actually. I thought that was a really good part of the book. The daily OnlyFans Stoic. Is that what I said? Oh man, it's subconscious, eh? Hey Laura, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. I have not read Psycho-Cybernetics. Sounds interesting. Isaac, so general reading routine. So I tried to I used to be in the habit of, I'd get up each morning and I'd make coffee, obviously. How else do you start the day? And then I'd sit down and read for like half an hour. But at the moment I've been like getting up, walking straight away, literally like as soon as I wake up. So I think I'm probably going to switch to, for this next book, doing some audiobooks, and then maybe, for example, on days like a Saturday or a Sunday, take some days off where you've got some time to sit down and read then I'll sort of pick up with the book there. But generally, I prefer like sitting down, physically holding a book, and actually being able to write some notes down and being able to think about things. But it really depends on the book, I think, as well. If you're reading something like this, where this is a bit more conversational, it's just a bit of a chat, it's kind of funny, you don't need to take so many notes. To answer your question, TT Master, training legs once a week is plenty. Legs are dumb. They're very simple. You just need to do basic movements and do them consistently. 1 time a week is more than enough. His mental fortitude is as amazing as his physical. I completely agree, man. I just like. I think the final bit of the book, he talks a lot about circadian rhythm and about how he did a test, right? So preparing, obviously there's a lot of preparation. You don't just get in the sea and decide to swim around the UK, right? There's a lot of preparation involved. And one of the preparations that he did was an army test in which he swam for 48 hours straight, so 2 days straight, no sleeping. He brought food with him. He could eat when he wanted to. He could rest a little bit when he wanted to, but no sleeping. Just had to keep swimming backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. And he talked a lot about, you know, he started hallucinating. I think at one point, like he bumped into one of the lane ropes in the swimming pool, apologized and offered it a biscuit. I thought that was hilarious. That actually like made me laugh out loud. That was like the most British thing that you could do. But he talks about like how bad, you know, not only not having sleep is for you, but obviously that mismatch of circadian rhythm. He was swimming and resting 6 hours on, 6 hours off, and it's on repeat. So and when you get to doing that for like 3 or 4 months, your circadian rhythm's going to be absolutely messed up. There's no chance that you're going to be able to. Should I say cheapest way to get high is just to not sleep? I mean, you're right. Getting high on a budget, just don't sleep for 2 days and do some exercise. Yeah, I just think it's absolutely crazy, and the mental fortitude that he had to just persevere and keep doing that. As I said at the beginning, like just imagine doing that just for your normal day to day. It'd be horrific. I'm gonna read some comments. I apologize for just keep pausing, but I'm trying to like keep up with what everyone else is saying. What did I think of page 114, the idea of how you split up your adaptation energy for training? Right. Somebody who's actually talking about the book, which is what we're supposed to be talking about. I will do my best. Oh, they're getting wintered. Yeah. Cool. 114, splitting up training. Okay, for those of you, are you going to be able to see this? I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to hold it up to the camera anyway. Basically, he's given a bit of a pie chart here, which is your adaptation energy, and then like that's how much your physical reserves, and then he's kind of split that up, and it's basically about 2/3 low intensity swimming, a little bit of strength training, a little bit of high intensity swimming. What exactly did I want to think about? That's what I was thinking. Oh, splitting up training. Yeah, I mean, so I think this is an important one. Obviously, Ross is a great example of the importance of strength training. He talks about this in the book as well, about the best. So this is quite a common myth. A lot of people think that flexibility training is the best way to not get injured. Actually, the best way to not get injured, the thing that's going to give you the most likelihood of reducing your risk of injury is strength training. Strength training is the best, basically, and that's what I tend to recommend to people. If anyone emails me or says anything about injuries, I'm like, just get strong. It's the best way to get rid of it. So he still kept up his strength training, and he still did it on during the swim, did it beforehand. I think it's a fundamental part. Can't go wrong with getting strong, as Adam Meekins would say. But the way he splits it up in the book is interesting. It's important to consider in your own training, because Ross's job, right, is to prepare to be an adventurer, prepare to do these things. There is going to be obviously some lifestyle stuff, but for your average person, for somebody who works 9 to 5, somebody who's got a family, got bills to pay, you've got a mortgage, that is going to eat up into some of that adaptive energy. You're going to have to set aside a portion of that adaptive energy just to deal with life, which sounds a bit ridiculous, but it is very valid. If you're particularly stressed out, then you probably don't want to train 6 days a week, 2 hours a day. If you've not got much going on, if you're a uni student, life's pretty chill, then you probably can do that. I'm way off. So I thought it was interesting that he had a lot of cardio in it. Like the biggest proportion of his training was cardio. Obviously, he's doing a swim around the UK, but it's low, easy cardio. And he also talked about how cardio can help improve strength, and strength can help improve endurance. There's definitely a translation over between the two, which again, you know, if you're somebody who your sport is triathlon, cycling, or whatever, it's cardio-based sport, there's still some benefits. One, for the injury prevention reasons to do strength training, but also that strength training is going to make you a better athlete at your sport. If you're climbing up a hill on a bike, for example, if you've done some squats, you've got a bit of extra power and force generation through your legs, you're actually probably going to be able to ascend that hill much faster than somebody who doesn't. I'm sorry, I'm going to catch up with some comments now, because I'm just rambling. Ross sure lives life on the edge, yeah. Honestly, I just read this book and I was like, I just could not believe, man, what he did. It's just mental. I like what. So Neil says, I like what Ross was saying about journaling to develop Stoicism. What are your thoughts? So I've tried. Okay, I'd love to hear your thoughts on journaling, because I hear a lot of mixed stuff with this. A lot of people who do journaling, they tout the benefits of journaling. They absolutely love it. Myself, I've struggled to make it a habit. I've done some different things. I used to do like at bed, I'd write down 3 things I achieved that day, 3 things I failed at or learned from, 3 things I wanted to do the next day, and 3 things I was grateful for. That was what I tried to get in the habit of doing when I was going to sleep, and I saw some benefit, but I've never really found much of a benefit from journaling personally. It's not something that I've loved doing, in the same way as I don't love doing sit down meditation. I'd much rather go for a walk and just like be present at that moment, which I kind of think was what meditation is all about. It's about clearing your mind, focusing on the present. So like I'm like, okay, I'll go out in nature and just sit and observe what's going around me as I walk, you know. Okay, I see. So again, Neil, sorry, clarifying his point, asking those questions of yourself each day. I mean, I like the idea of asking those questions each day. What bad habit did I curb? How am I better? Were my actions just? How can I improve? I think they're all good things to reflect upon. I think most people go through life and don't reflect on those things enough. So that's probably where I think the benefit of doing it daily would arise. Actually, I wasn't at all aware of this, and then when I read the King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, which is what the Warrior of Bodyweight Warrior is about, again, a book I'd highly recommend. That book made me much more self-aware of my own actions and how I was acting. So I think that that Stoicism is about bringing that self-awareness to your actions. Again, controlling the things you can control. If you don't like an aspect of how you act, change it. You can do that. So I do like that aspect. Just journal what you feel like right then, whenever. Yeah, I think there's some talent to that though. I think that's a skill, just being able to like write whatever's on your mind. In the same way as you know, if you said to like somebody who's never painted before, you gave them a paintbrush and you're like, okay, just go paint. Like you'd probably just stand there and be like, but what do I paint? You know, like there's almost that judgment that you have of yourself before you do it. So maybe it is a good practice. Maybe it's good at removing that judgment of yourself. You know, doesn't matter what you write down on the paper. Doesn't matter what you paint. You're just trying to feel it out. And it's a hard one though. I think a hard one. Like personally, anyway, I can see the struggle with getting your head around that. When I was at university, I did design, and if you were doing design, you'd have an ideation phase, and the point of the ideation phase was about not judging the ideas that came out. So you just sit there and you'd have your problem, you'd have your thing, and you'd be like, okay, I'm just going to come up with ideas, and then you just put down anything. It doesn't matter how bad the idea was, chuck it down on paper. So I kind of think that is a similar sort of process. I think that's good. I think for me personally, I need a task to have. If I was going to do that daily writing, I couldn't just write. I'd need the questions that Neil mentioned earlier. I think that was a good one. Some self-reflective questions, and then just write freely on that. Yeah. Let me catch up with some comments. I'm sorry if I've missed some people who've asked questions. Like, there's a surprising amount of people who ask them. One of the best self-help books I've read, Dale Carnegie's How to Make Friends and Influence People. I have also read that. I can't remember much of it actually now you're saying it, but I have read it over summer. Okay. Reading Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, highly recommends. Okay, interesting one. I actually recently watched his interview with Jordan Peterson, and I thought that was quite interesting. Matthew McConaughey, fantastic actor, Interstellar, 10 out of 10 film. But it was quite interesting to see him on it. Half joking, a good exercise of Stoicism is being poor. If you're in a situation when, for example, you change career. Yeah, I mean, Dan, I completely agree. Actually, I remember listening to Tim Ferriss, and he talks about how a few days per month or every now and again he would go like camping, and he'd take like a tent, he'd take some cans of beans, and he'd just be out in the middle of nowhere with none of the luxuries of modern life, and just live to kind of develop that appreciation for how good we have it. And I think that could also be a really fun practice. In fact, I've got something like that myself planned when things are a little bit more chilled here in the UK in terms of the ability to move about. I just want to like go out, camp somewhere, take nothing else with me, just to be outside with nothing. It's like the most appealing thing right now, which is strange. Dennis mentions his handwriting is horrible if he's using a journal that he's using speech. I actually really like that as an idea. My handwriting is also absolutely shocking. I like the idea of just, recording a voice, chatting whatever you think into it, and then also probably an easier way to save it and look back through it. Kind of reminds me of Lewis Litt from Suits as well, which I'm not sure is a good thing. If you watched it, you'll know. Somebody says I also don't journal consistently. Read The King, Magician, Warrior last month. Too interesting how the two books overlapped. I think so. Like, I mean, a lot of Jungian philosophy. I think Stoicism is like kind of the origins of a lot of Western philosophies at the end of the day. So I wouldn't be surprised that they overlap in the slightest. It's all just slightly different takes at the end of the day. What is your goal with journaling? I mean, I don't journal, so I mean it's a good question. I think the self-reflection aspect, I think that's good. That's what the Stoicism part of what Ross talks about in his book is about. It's about asking yourself those questions and trying to reflect on that and change things if you do need to change things, right? Oftentimes a lot of our behavior is subconscious. We don't realize we're doing things. We don't realize we're acting in certain ways, but because we don't ever take time to reflect on how we act oftentimes, and I think that's what the Stoicism is about. It's like spending some day at the end of the day writing down, asking yourself how you acted, what you did. That's why I said that. So the three that I used, obviously there's loads of people in the chat, so listen to those guys as well. I don't do the journaling anymore, but the three that I thought was helpful was like 3 things I've achieved in the day, because it was that gave you a positive feeling. It's like, oh look, I did these things today. It could be literally super meaningless, it could be like I emptied the bins or something. 3 things that I want to improve, so that could be really generic. It could be super basic, or it could be very high level, thinking about how you're acting. I think maybe that's worth thinking about on the day. 3 things I'm grateful for. Again, it could be the most ridiculous things. It could be high level, you know, you're grateful for some crazy stuff, or it could just be like, you know, I'm grateful to have a good coffee with peace in the morning, you know. I'm very grateful for that. And then 3 things to do tomorrow. I like that one because a lot of the times at night, like, I'll sit there and I'll think about all the things that I've got to do, and if I write down like the first 3 things that I'm going to do the next day, switching off the brain is great. Cheers, Michael, appreciate it. What did I study? Oscar asked. I studied industrial design and technology, which is essentially the degree of being somebody who designs Apple products. I guess is probably the best way of explaining it. Technically, industrial design is making the built environment more pleasurable, but yeah, anything that's not like planes, boats, that sort of stuff, or not too much engineering, making things pretty. But I specialised in web design and user experience. Enjoyed the degree a lot. I just did it at Loughborough University, which is like the biggest sports union in the UK, and I just got very distracted whilst I was there. Hence why I'm doing this as a job now. Sarah asked how old I am. I'm 26. I'm gonna be 27 this year because I'm. That 27 to me sounds old. That's tip the scales. Like, it's closer to 30, you know. I have Boneheads Like This, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I have not read it. I've heard very good reviews on it, and that again was one of the options for this whole book club thing. That was one of the suggestions. So it's a possibility in the future. For the moment, if you have not, it's The Talent Code. If you didn't know already, we're reading this one next. Make sure you've read it. It's a good book, actually, The Talent Code. A really, really good book. It applies a lot to bodyweight training, handstands as well. Definitely going to listen to the audiobook, The Talent Code. I think so. I'm going to listen probably 75% of the book, and I'll read when I can. I still like reading. I still miss reading. Yeah, this plant. This is actually, so I feel like we're done with the book club side of things. I'm enjoying chatting to you guys. So if anyone has any other stuff that they want to mention about the book, I will definitely prioritize talking about that. But you know, let's have a chat. So somebody said the plant is looking good. Michael, yeah. See, this is Sven. Sven is the snake plant, and he's been on the Capri Sun. He's grown about. He was like this high. Yes, he's on the juice. So people talking about non-reading fiction. I personally hate reading fiction. I can't remember the last fiction book I read. I probably was The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. But I just not just not a massive fan. I'd rather learn something while I'm reading. That's just, it could be productive, man. Hustle 24/7. Do you think self-development is BS? No, I don't. I think certainly some stuff you could probably label in the BS category. There's far too many that are just more funny, but I think as a general principle, I think you need to have some self-awareness, and I think that's what self-help books are kind of about. But I would say as a general, like as a genre, self-help books tend to be like 50 pages of good stuff and then like 250 pages of just repeating the same points over and over again so you have a book. There's very few books that I've read that have been like, oh, this is nice and concise. Every word was used well. I did actually, I thought Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life, was good, was succinct, was an interesting read. The King Warrior Magician Lover as well, I also thought that was a very succinct book. Oh, somebody's just asked, have I read 12 Rules for Life? I have read 12 Rules for Life. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I think he's been demonised for the wrong reasons. I think he's done a lot of good. And I will be reading his new, is it Beyond Rules? His latest book. Whenever that comes out. Maybe that could make it into an episode on here. I know he seems to be a bit of a Marmite character. You either like Jordan Peterson or you don't, for whatever reason that is. If I'm going at it as without any preconceptions, I think he's a good guy. Jake on the juice. I am a Fillion fan. Fillion's great. I think he's hilarious. I do like generic fitness content because I used to lift and do aesthetic stuff, so I still find it kind of funny to peek into that world because it's a different world, man. Do I still use my degree and qualifications? Not. I mean, yes, I do, because I still design. I design my own website, the app that I have, Tribe. I helped develop it and helped design it with the guys who run it. So I still kind of use my degree a little bit, but I spend most time learning about this sort of stuff. Daniel, about the book, really loved the amazing interactions with nature. For example, I thought that was awesome too. I think there's 2 points. There was a point in Scotland where he swam with a basking shark, and the basking shark was was almost like kind of looking after him because they realised that it was like a weaker mammal just trying to swim by. I thought that was an amazing thing. And then another point when he was coming back down the other side of the UK, some seals joined him, which are kind of, I think seals are referred to as like the dogs or the puppies or the dogs of the sea, like they're just friendly and they want to kind of interact with you. So I thought that was must have been an amazing experience for him. How can I enter to win the book? Are you sure the link is not working? Can you give it a go? Let me know if the link isn't working. I'll make sure I update that. Just check back maybe later on and I'll make sure it's working, but let me know, because otherwise I'll make sure I fix that. How do you feel about more challenge style videos like Noel Wilson does? I like challenge style videos. I think Stan Brownlee does a great job at like the challenge style videos of the calisthenic stuff. I would like to give some a go, but I would like to do it like do you know what my goals were for 2021 in terms of like YouTube making fun videos? Was collaboration, which we'll see if it ends up being successful or not, but I wanted to try and travel and visit some other people who are doing interesting and cool things, maybe outside the realm of bodyweight training, and give them a go and kind of ask them a bit about maybe how does flexibility play into their training, how does their strength work. You know, I would love to do more of that. If you want to see that, like, I'm gonna try and make it happen. It's just at the moment, apparently going near people is illegal. Where are you from? Guess. From England. Oh, from England, mate. How viable do you think YouTube is as a job for most? I don't know, to be honest. Like, if you're talking about making money from YouTube and then that money from YouTube being your job, probably not. I've been making YouTube videos now for like 5+ years. I didn't make any money, like zero, for the first 2, and then even then I think I made about £50 per month for a while. Like, even now, if I wanted to live off just the money that I make from YouTube, I probably could just about. So, you know, it depends. That the whole YouTube, that's a subject for another conversation. But maybe not. You would have to use YouTube as your advertising for another business maybe that you're doing. Right, I don't know where I am on the comments, but the link doesn't work. Okay, I'll make sure the link is working after this live, because I can't really do much now without absolutely screwing up my computer. So there's that. Anything out by the Kardashians regarding self-help is most likely BS. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't disagree. Thoughts on lean gains, intermittent fasting? Man, I remember reading Lean Gains like back in the day when he had the blog, the forum, the OG Lean Gains. I like intermittent fasting, man. The 16/8 stuff, I think it's good. I personally I only eat 2 meals a day. I'll just 2 meals. Right, let's start that one again. I only eat 2 meals a day because it's simple. So essentially, I intermittent fast. I think it's fine. Dave Asprey has also come out with a book called Fast recently, but he takes that further and talks about fasting from technology for dopamine and other stuff. And I'm a bit hit and miss on Dave Asprey, to be honest. This, by the way, founder of Bulletproof Diet. But I thought that what he had to say was good. Based on the art of resilience, do you believe you are a Stoic person, or has your view changed? Good question, James. I certainly don't think I'm as Stoic as Ross. When I was reading like what he did, number one, I don't think I could put myself through that amount of suffering for that amount of time. Like, you know, as I said, 6 hours on, 6 hours off, swimming 20 miles a day in the water around the UK, living on. I don't know if I could do that personally. I'm not sure there's a lot of people who could. So that ability just to deal with that sort of shit would be, for me personally, I don't know, I think that would be a really hard thing to do. And then also to find out your dad was dying of terminal cancer and still being able to persevere on and, you know, finish the challenge. Yeah, that's incredible, like genuinely incredible. You know, put many other people in his shoes, and nobody would have, even with like the training and stuff that he's done, nobody would have lasted. That mental fortitude is massive. So I thought that I was Stoic, and I would say now that I think after reading that book, my level of Stoicism is less than Ross's. But I'm prepared to learn. The book has actually inspired me to take on some more physical challenges where things aren't optimal. I think a lot of the time in the fitness industry, and sorry, this is random rant, in the fitness industry, we talk a lot about perfect conditions. And actually, this was one of the last things that I highlighted in the book. So I'm going to read it to you. So, right, this is the issue. Athletes are taught to perform at their best when they feel at their best. Royal Marines are taught to perform at their best when they feel their worst. And I read that and I was like, damn, that is the fitness industry. We spend all the time talking about the perfect programs, the perfect, you know, setup, exercise, execution, all this sort of stuff. I'm like, yes, that's important. But sometimes just doing the thing and having a bit of grit to get through it is the more important factor. So definitely reading this book, I'll share it eventually when it happens, but I've set myself like a few physical challenges where I know the circumstances, the situation is not going to be perfect, and I'm interested to learn how I'm going to respond to that. I suggest you do. You know, I think it's the same. I think the winter swimming that I've really been enjoying this year, like twice a week, every week, getting in the sea for 5 minutes. Like, it's not pleasant, it's not that enjoyable. A little bit of grit, a little bit of conquering. You're in a bitch, as Joe Rogan would say. I think it's a good practice to get into. Alright, I'm going to go back and read some of the questions. Oh, I see. So, sorry, the realisation about the entries. Give me 2 seconds and I will make that work. I'll make it work after this call. I can't be bothered. I can't do it now because I just can't see. I'm going to stare at the screen. Don't worry. If you want to enter the book giveaway, it will be live after this video, after this live stops. Okay. I'm probably going to chat for another 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm probably going to go. Okay. So I'm just going to answer questions now. How did you learn all the physiology stuff without the graduate background? I took courses, basically. I saved up and finished my degree and then paid for more courses. I'm still learning now. I've done pull checks. Obviously, I've done your basic PT stuff. Like, you kind of have to do that. We won't dwell too much on that. I've done pull checks courses, exercise coach courses, which is more about corrective exercise and posture. I've done and still studying with Charles Poliquin stuff, so that does a lot about anatomy. I've done some other conditioning certs. I've done some other, the various things. You don't have to do a degree to learn these things, but obviously a degree would have been nice. But I'm not going to go back and spend £40,000 on a degree and get into more debt. But I don't wish I would have done anything different, because I wouldn't have ended up here. I'm glad to hear some of you are saying you want to see some of the collaboration stuff. I'm really excited to do it. Like I've got some people lined up. I mean, if you have any people that you want to see me like do some videos with, please let me know, and I'll do my best to like try and travel and make it happen. I think, sorry, just going back to the Jordan Peterson thing, Michael says there's a reason that Peterson's followers are more than 90% men, makes his opinion irrelevant to me. I don't think that would make his opinion irrelevant. He's just, like, I'm sure, I don't know, we're talking about the Kardashians, I'm sure, like, 90% of the Kardashians' followers are female, but, like, it's just more about what opinion gravitates to those individuals. So some things may appeal to men more than women, and vice versa. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that invalidates an opinion, and it's also perfectly fine to have an opinion that is different to yours. You know, there's I think science has given us the illusion that there is one factually correct answer, whereas actually the foundation of liberal science as a thing itself is that nothing is above questioning, and that's the foundation of science. That's why we have peer reviews. That's why all of these things are in place, is that you should be able to question anything, and anything that is proven in science is always, this is the best of our understanding at this point of time. It's not proven, it's the best of our understanding at this point in time. It could be proven wrong in the future, and that's the key. You should always be prepared to be proven wrong. Sorry for that. This is just a bit of a rant. I feel like I'm way behind on comments. You guys putting too many comments in, man. Love the quote. I really like that quote about performing at your worst. Like, I think that's the fitness industry is all about the best supplements. Since Ross couldn't come today, if it were possible, it would be great to see him on the channel. Yeah, I've reached out to Ross. I said this at the beginning, and he said he couldn't come today for a live stream. But I am trying to get hold of him and do a video of him in the future, whether that be me trying to do some calisthenic stuff, or maybe we get Ross trying to do some body weight, me doing some triathlon stuff, whether we get Ross doing some calisthenics or some splits or something funny. I think that would be cool. He just seems like a fun guy. This will be a fun video. When Ross talked about how he coped with his dad's cancer news, how important do you believe internal stoicism is versus being a part of a team? That's a really good question as well. James, mate, James coming out with the bangers of the questions. I think definitely you can't do something on your own. That's something I've discovered. I've been living alone, or especially during this lockdown. It has been it's been a challenge to live by yourself, especially if something's going on. You need to be able to tell somebody about these things, and I think that's a very undervalued thing. Whether that's your parents, a sibling, a friend, a partner. Certainly, you know, if Stoicism is a lot about obviously that personal development, that inner peace. But I don't think you can tackle everything on yourself. There's a reason we evolved as tribes. It's because we're good at some stuff and not so good at others. And I don't think there's anything wrong to rely on other people a little bit. I think that you know, community is massive, man. Best thing to do for hip impingement, I would probably just go see a physio who knows what they're doing. I don't like giving too much fitness injury advice here. All right, I'm gonna rapid fire and catch up with the chat because you guys are chatting so much, and then I'm gonna head off because it's been an hour. When are we gonna get some Call of Duty montages? Oh man, do you know what? As I said, because I've been living by myself, I've been very tempted to buy an Xbox and start playing the Call of Duty again, but I feel like it would be unproductive. But maybe one day. Way of the Peaceful Warrior. I've heard about this book as well, and it's on the reading list. I'll make sure it's up there on the reading list. What do you think about Wim Hof's breathing exercises? I think they're good. I do them when I do my cold swimming. I do them most mornings actually, just anyway. But it's not Wim's breathing exercise, by the way. I think it's actually it's Tibetan, or I know it's from somewhere in Central Asia. But Wim's pretty open about that. I think it's good. Obviously, he's got a massive audience because his things work, and I think he's great as well at inspiring people to again, that activity is quite stoic in itself. It's about challenging yourself, overcoming your inner stuff, making yourself do something that's not particularly pleasant. All of these sort of things are kind of linked together. Do you care about muscle mass? So do you mind if you have big biceps or not? I mean, do care a little bit. Actually, this year, up until this year, I haven't cared too much. It's been like a pleasant side effect of training. But this year I've taken a bit more of a focus on getting some muscle mass and getting strong. Don't know why, that's just what I felt like doing this year, and I try not to judge it. I don't think it's necessarily bad to focus on your physique. It's always good to feel good and look good. So yeah, that's my focus at the moment. Michael says that even though he didn't read the book, I'm liking the content from the live. I'm glad. That's kind of the point, I guess. It was like, I guess you don't have to read the book to appreciate. We can kind of chat around because the ideas. This is a book of ideas, right? And I think everyone's asked some really good questions. So I'm excited to do more lives. I really enjoyed this. So thanks for everyone for joining. What self-help book is next on your list? Well, that is the Talent Code. I'm glad you asked. That's what we're reading next time. On a personal level, I am reading currently a book. Wow, why have I forgotten the name of it? A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. That's the one. A New Earth. New Earth? I think so. I don't know why I found it's okay. I mean, Eckhart Tolle is amazing, so I just felt like reading it. Something a bit more of a thinking book, I guess, spiritual book. Thoughts on running? I know you said once that it can negatively affect flexibility. You can run if you want to run. I don't. It does negatively affect flexibility to some extent. That's part of the improving running economy. But you can definitely train around it if you really want to run. I just don't like running, so that's my excuse. James, can you stop asking the banging questions about Ross? This is some good ones. So James, basically, you can scroll back up and see it, but he asked if I'm going to... He talks about Ross including mental training as part of his activity. Am I going to include more mental fitness into my training practice? Absolutely. This is why I've been... the first lockdown, the November lockdown in the UK, when things were getting darker, and it's like that was... I was not super happy with the whole situation at that point. So one of the things that I was like, I just want to get outside. So that was why I started doing the sunrise walks and just spending like half an hour just walking and trying to be present, and that was super useful. So I think the mindfulness aspect is huge. Whatever form it takes, you know, doesn't have to be training, doesn't have to be sitting and meditating, it could be anything. Please do more food videos. I will try. I think we've got a day of eating video coming out next week. A video of Edo, that would certainly be interesting if that could ever happen. I'd love to do it. I've already answered the muscle mass question. Thank you also for everyone saying nice kind words. I really do appreciate it. Maria from Mexico, Santosh from Texas. I don't want to eat non-veg foods as protein. What do you suggest for veg protein? That one, I guess you're down to legumes and lentils and things like that. But yeah, I don't. You know, animal products are one of the most bioavailable ones. So eggs are also fantastic if you're okay with that. I don't think eggs are pretty non-harmful. You know, at the end of the day. Who's Natasha Mario? Andy Galpin. Okay, I'm gonna keep these comments. I'm gonna go look up some of these people that you guys are mentioning. Daniel Blake. Harry Potter's target audience and 90% adolescents doesn't mean you can't. It discriminates and adults can't read it. I mean, that's absolutely true. Like, this is. I'm not getting at you, Michael, for your comment. Like, I just think that we're becoming more and more intolerant about having differing opinions, and I think it's fine to have different opinions. It makes things much more interesting. It's very boring if everyone just agrees with you. Right. Eddie Hall. Do you know what? Eddie Hall is a great shout for a collaboration. Because I saw him post on Instagram that he was trying to get middle splits, and I was like, oh, can you imagine World's Strongest Man just banging out some middle splits? That'd be crazy. So yes, potentially. James, next book, The Talent Code. Thanks for asking. I feel like I'm plugging this. I'm not making money off this. I'm just like, guys, this is what we're reading. Oh damn, shit, people have donated. That's really kind of you. Thank you very much for the donation. I highly appreciate it. I didn't even know you could donate on YouTube chat. I'm very oblivious to this. But thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. I'm happy the stretching has helped. Honestly, genuinely, it's what makes me do this. I love hearing that. Oscar as well. Thank you very much for the donation. Right, guys, it's an hour and 10. I've really got to go. I'm gonna rapid fire these questions. Just want to swing by and say thanks for the flexibility videos. Yeah, you're welcome. Honestly, so happy to help. Tips to get flexible fast. Change your mindset. It's gonna take some time. I definitely think the best way to speed it up is to make it into a daily practice. I can't lie. Doing something daily definitely helps. And reducing your other training, because we talked about adaptive energy earlier. Ross talked about adaptive energy. Focusing on developing flexibility as your sole purpose will speed up the progress. Other training will take away from it. Not to say you can't do anything, but just reduce down your other stuff. Papa, this was really fun. I'll try to read Talent Code so I can ask questions. Yeah, man, I've really enjoyed this. Genuinely, guys, this has been really fun. So massive thank you for everyone who's joined. I'm definitely going to do more live streams. I was a little nervous to do this one, but I'm enjoying it. Mindful training, just embrace the suck. 100%. More videos on nutrition. Oh, 100%. I'm planning on doing more. As I said, I'm just I stopped doing them because I was annoyed with the comments, and I'm not a nutritionist, so I feel kind of a bit funny about giving nutrition advice, or it's something I've read about, but I'd like to be qualified to give advice. But certainly I'm going to share more. You know, diversity of opinion is the best kind of diversity. 100%, man. You've got like, everyone's got different experiences, and that's going to feed into your opinion. Different situations as well. What you think might be right in your circumstances, not necessarily right in others. Is there a bad buzzing? I'm sorry, some people have mentioned the buzzing. I think it's the laptop because it's got the fans on, but hopefully the audio and stuff in general has been pretty good. Do I eat nose to tail? I try to as much as possible. I include a lot of organ meats as well as other meats. No coffee portion. It's like 6 o'clock at night and I would not sleep, so no coffee. Maybe next time we'll do it in the morning and we can all sit and have a coffee together. Oh shit, thank you Malcolm, appreciate the donation. $4, they'll go towards the coffee fund. No, hope I can, yeah mate, oh, you know, right, okay, I think we've asked, Nick Bear, I will look into Nick Bear as well. I'm gonna go back through this chat and make sure I write down some of the people who you guys suggested to look. Will I go on the carnivore only diet? I'm pretty close to that at the moment. Have been tempted, probably not though. I don't think it's necessarily the best, and also not necessarily the message that I want to convey either. Like, it works for me, doesn't necessarily work for everyone else. I kind of already Michael, don't take the comments here too seriously. Like, again, if you don't like Jordan, you're entitled to your opinion. That's also fine. You know, I think there's probably some fair criticisms on him, as well as there's a lot of unfair criticisms. I appreciate the comment, Amber. I like that one. Right. Okay, I'm done. Hour and 15. I've really enjoyed this chat, guys. I will be sharing. Maybe we'll do a live in the future where we'll just hang out, have a chat. Maybe at some point, maybe another day, maybe make it a monthly thing, a regular thing. If that's something that you'd want to do, something you'd be interested in, let me know and I'll make it happen. I don't care if it gets less views, I just enjoy hanging out and having a chat sometimes. So I highly appreciate everyone who has joined and asked questions, and I hope you enjoyed the book, which is this is all about, and I hope you read the next one so we can have some more interesting chats about it. We get to chat about some cool little videos and some other things, right? Everyone have an awesome rest of your day. If it is the morning where you are, have a cup of coffee for me. I will live vicariously for you. Otherwise, take it easy, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace. Oh, end the stream!